So welcome to this new video. I want to go quickly over the price action because we know we are in this bigger range with this low being our range low, this high being our range high, and then this is our range. So let's move that for now. Then this is the main range with the range low right here and the range high right there. And then we had the local range, which is this range. Depends on you draw it. But right now we see that price is making kind of what we had here, and then price broke out of it, impulsed higher. That we do it in a similar fashion right now. So what's going to happen at this lower part here is going to be key, because in my opinion, either we soon get a trend reversal, meaning we break structure back to bullish and then potentially can look for a move back to these highs right here, or it can be a quick move lower, because if we, let's erase those ugly looking trend lines because I don't like them. If we quickly look at the volume profile, then we can see that all the volume of this range has been in this part, which means that this is also our range low level. And we tested it right here, we bounced from it, we came below it yesterday, bounced from it, and right now we are back below it again, which means that if we don't see buyers step in here really soon, then it can be a really quick move towards that lower part of the range, which can mean that this was the upper part of the range, the premium that we distribute now, and that we then get a new range for a while in the lower part of the range. So that's something to keep an eye on. Then quickly going over the levels we were looking at yesterday, which was first we had this local range, where this was our local range low, this was our local range high, and then we had that second step. This is where I made the video yesterday, around here, where we had that move down, lower high, lower low, and then during New York we got this scam pump higher, but that scam pump eventually turned into, like, you could see it like range low, range high, mid-range. So tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, aka model 1 distribution, going over into a model 2, since this one grabbed extreme liquidity after New York open and then hit the objective of the range low. Let me erase this to clean. So that distribution completed, and then price stayed within the deviation threshold here. You see a little close below it and then a move higher, but overall you could say that on the high time frame, where the range is valid on, that price stayed within the deviation threshold but did not close. So here we can see that price moved back in it, and they can look for, okay, is this potentially an accumulation or not? And then normally you could say, okay, it could be, but right now if you look at this move down right here, this and then this move down, and you already know that if this is such aggressive, then the likelihood of this becoming a clean accumulation model is pretty small, because you want to see like more of a slow move down and then a change in structure and then move up. So right now we see that this is also making new lows. So I don't watch it from a range perspective now anymore, but more from this was just a move down back into, I believe this was also a breaker block. But yeah, price came back into this breakdown level from yesterday, failed to break above, and then slowly died off. And right now we have new lows. And that's what I wanted to explain according to the statistics, because now we have a new weekly low. But yesterday we already made this low, this one. And as I said on Monday, we had that weekly high on Monday right here. And then I said, if we want to have a bullish week, then you want to have your weekly low on Tuesday. Because if after Tuesday you put in a low, then it's very, very likely you make new weekly lows. So at this point, this was our high, this was our low. But yesterday we made this low, which gave us a weekly P2 on Wednesday, which already shows us that a bearish bias for the week is very likely. And I just wanted to show that before, but I already see that we made new weekly lows. So now it's even confirmed. But we can look at what the statistics are saying right now for the weekly. Let them update. And then we can see 3% of the weeks took out the weekly high. So based on timing, so because we have the weekly high on Monday and the weekly P2 on Thursday, only 3% of the weeks would now make a full reversal back to the weekly high. So that's a really low probability. And then based on distance statistics, 21% of the weeks will take out the weekly high. So that's very low. Then we can see how likely is it that we make new weekly lows after our current weekly low. Then 74% of the weeks form a new P2 after Thursday. So that's still 3 out of 4. So pretty high. And like distance is like 73%. So there's still room to make a new low past this weekly low. So this range was broken to the downside, not looking at it anymore from a range perspective. So now we can see what are the levels to keep an eye on. If we just look at some demand, as I said, below here, there's almost no volume. So this is a key level to hold. So what we can do is to look at for example, at structure. As I always say, structure is the most important. So in this downward leg, what is structure? This is the low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then say that this is the lower high, this is the lower low, this is the lower high. And right now we are making a new low, which means that this is our current 1 hour market structure level. And as you know, I always mark them out with the red level, which means that if we get a hourly candle close above this level, then we break this internal downtrend. That will be the first sign of strength. So let's put an alert slightly below it. But beside that, I'm not really interested in longs anymore because we have the weekly bearish stats. So only sign of strength for me would be clearing this hourly downtrend. And else I'm even more interested in potential shorts, which could develop in many ways. But because you can get a slow grind up here and then market structure break down like this, which can give you scalping short opportunities. You can also get like a squeeze up and then a swing failure of your 1 hour market structure. And if you close back below this level, it can also be a short with your stop loss above this level. Because right now, I think the longer we stay below this value area low level, the more likely it is that we go to the low 60Ks. So that means also, which I said, all the volume is in this upper part, that if we hold below the value area low, that it can be a very quick move down to this part. As you can see, there's almost no volume. So that can be pretty interesting scalping opportunities. So let's see what the lower time frame is. Here you can also see that curvature effect, and you can say, okay, this is a good return to zone, but to me, this is more like looking of seller strength until proven otherwise. So also here, if you want to look for longs because you swept previous daily low, for example, then also always look at structure. So even on the 5 minute, you can draw your structure from like this: low, low, lower high, low, low, lower high, low, low, lower high, and then this is your low, low. So even then, on the 5 minute, also according to my rules at least, you want to get above this level to get your market structure confirmations. But to me, this looks more, like pretty weak, because we are losing our value area. The longer we stay below these levels, this is your first sign of strength, 5 minute, and this is your hourly structure. As long as we stay below hourly especially, I'm more interested in shorts currently than in longs, and I will be getting interested in longs again if we break above that 1 hour downtrend level, or if we reach the lower levels in the 60k levels. Do I have much to tell beside that? Not really. I think the plans are pretty clear. And also, like, start of the week, I was looking for a bullish bias, or at least I saw the bullish potential. And that was, when was this? Yeah, at that point with, I saw this as the range, with 1, this being the 2. But quickly that bias changed for me, because we had a 1, this was a deep mitigation. And then instead of clean accumulative price behavior, we started to form like this distribution with the 1, 2, 3, and then yesterday that redistribution. So at that point, it was more like, okay, it's likely that the high of Monday will hold, and that this is just local weakness instead of accumulative price behavior. So also right now, yeah, I'm more leaning towards a lower high for lower low until proven otherwise. So let's see what price action gives going into New York, which is in half an hour. And beside that, yeah, I will not force anything. This is choppy price action, but if you just follow local market structure, then it's not too worse to play, because you can just mark out your level right there. Look at what are the other levels. We have previous weekly low below, so that's also a level of interest you can mark out like that. And then, yeah, the 1 hour market structure low is also the hourly structure, so that's interesting. And then beside that, I always like to look at the volume profile as shown multiple times. And then this is basically all you have to look at. You can also look, okay, there's somewhat of a downtrend here. This also a trend line. And you can see that you have tap 1, tap 2, and then often if you get the third tap, that's often a fake move. And then often the fourth one is the real break. So now you see the confluence with here the value area low, the hourly market structure, and even the trend line. So if we get a move into here, then I'm interested in shorts back all the way to these lows. If we manage to close above, then I'm looking for back tests and then longs again. But for now, I'm leaning more bearish because we also have the bearish weekly statistics against us, which are showing us that, yeah, still like 3 out of the 4 times we will make new weekly lows after today. So I'm more leaning towards a low being made in the weekend than this being the low of the week. And also with the Iran and US tensions, I expect them to hit during the weekend like they always do when the markets are closed. So could be that crypto is gonna front run that again, that we gonna dump into the weekend, and then maybe next week get that reversal on a Monday after sweeping, preferably the range lows, something like this. So that's for now my plan. If you have any questions, let me know. And for now, yeah, I will not force anything. Just mark your levels, set your alerts, put in an alert at previous weekly low, and then wait what happens. So thanks for watching again, and happy clicking.